those pagans were barbarians, and we gave them the Bible and Jesus, and we made them almost a lot better. They all say the same thing. They all prefer Christianity and Islam to the pagan gods. Yahweh is a jealous God. The worst thing in the world for his people is for them to follow foreign idols and marry foreign women. But that's exactly what they got all of their enemy nations to do. Abandon their gods and worship a foreign god of Zion. You're not exposing Jewish power. You're not exposing Zionism when you're promoting the Jewish Messiah as the answer. We're not going to defeat the Jews with their own Hebrew Torah prophecies. Christianity wasn't just like subverted. Christianity is the subversion. Believing, getting all of the nations. I mean, is there a greater psyop than the Jews, a small people that believe they're chosen, convinced half the world of their story, of their narrative? It's like, oh, there's nothing Jews hate more than Christians believing in Jewish prophecy and worshiping the King of the Jews and believing in the God of Israel. No, that was their ultimate goal to begin with.
He is the instrument of God to bring the pagans out of paganism and into faith in one God.
Yeah, get rid of the paganism. This is what rabbis think of you. Rabbi, messianic rabbi. Okay. Of course, that makes sense. Checks out. It's all about conquering the pagan religions. And then these idiot Christians online are like, oh, you guys promoting paganism are working for the Jews, while all the rabbis are celebrating that Christianity conquered the pagan world.
Jesus is the Jew that brought the world to Jerusalem.
Jesus is the Jew that brought the world to Jerusalem. Where's the lie, Christians? Where's the lie? You worship the God of Israel, the God of Zion, and the King of the Jews. That says salvation is of the Jews.
And Jesus said himself, salvation is of the Jews. Think of that. Where did God first reveal salvation? According to his ancient prophets, to the Jews. According to the Word of God. Romans chapter 3, verse 2, the Bible tells us.
Imagine agreeing that the Jews were ever chosen by God and then denying that you're controlled opposition. Christians grant Jews their chosen status and then are so blind they don't see how that's playing a controlled dialectic.
The title of this message today is The Jew in You. What does this mean?
Like the Pope says, inside every Christian is a Jew. The title of today's sermon is The Jew in You.
Friends and family, listen carefully. If America does not turn from its wicked ways of insulting the God of heaven and earth, this nation will be judged, if it's not already under judgment. Look,
America will be judged for not worshiping the Jews enough. Not blessing the Jews enough. America will be cursed. And look at this. Thousands of mostly boomers, voting boomers, being mind-controlled by the religion. It's not cool to shill the Torah. It's not red-pilled and based to bow down to the King of the Jews and the God of Zion. You guys get that? I saw this guy, I think it's Lance Walnu, I want to say his name is. Maybe that's wrong. I heard this guy I was listening to in the car, AM Christian talk radio, and for an hour straight, it was nothing but raising money to send to Israel, and then it was a sermon from this guy. Christians and Jews united for Israel. Full hour sponsorship on the AM talk radio yesterday. But I'll let this finish. This epic see through it all mix to get us going. Huge show today. Share the link. Give it a like.
That this fake belief that they have in their fake religion called Christianity, helping us.
Helping us. Christians are helping them by your support and by your stupid opposition, your kosher opposition. They always say God did it, or they'll brag that Jews did it. It was Jews. Their God's not real. Jews created Christianity and sold the lie to the Gentiles.
If there would not be Christianity, the last thing they care about would be Israel. What do they need Israel for?
If not for Christianity, the government, the last thing that the world would care about is Israel and messiahs and prophecies. Without Christianity, none of the Goyim would care about the Jews and their God and their covenant. But you think there's nothing they hate more than all the Goyim wanting to have the covenant and believing in the prophecies and bowing down to a Jewish Messiah. No, nothing they hate more than all the Goyim worshiping the God of Israel and believing in Jewish prophecies. All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Epic compilation there. Shout out See Through It All for that mix. I'm editing it up in vertical, and I'm going to post it on my Instagram and TikTok. Find those links below. Everybody follow over there if you're not already. I'm going to play some clips from that. Jesus versus paganism. Nice little compilation there. I got a couple TikToks I wanted to share on that topic before we get going with the rest of the news today. There's a Holocaust Remembrance Day, a bunch of clips. There is updates with the Pope feud and Iran war with J.D. Vance. But first, to get us going, new bombshell clip from See Through It All. Christians, are you tired of being mocked yet? You tired of being the pawn in this Judeo dialectic yet? Here's a rabbi says Jesus is the most famous Jewish person of all time, and then brags how Yeshua conquered the Roman gods, the Norse gods, all the tribal deities, as it was always intended to. Let's see this one. This would have been added to the mix, and it will be new compilations in the future.
Is he?
You know what? Actually, before we get into that amazing clip, I want to do one of the TikToks. Here, let's go to the TikTok. Jesus deception. Where is it? This one.
Christianity was a useful transition to take people away from paganism towards a monotheistic belief in God.
In preparing the world to make the choice to receive the Mashiach, God has an intermediary stage of weaning the idolaters away from their idolatrous beliefs and introducing them to the ideas of monotheism. Christianity and Islam are like vehicles through which monotheism is being spread into the world in order to get all of humanity on board.
Both Christianity and Islam have a positive function in weaning the pagan world away from paganism.
Before the religion of Christianity, the Romans worshipped the stars, they worshipped the constellations, but as soon as they decided to adopt a religion, what kind of religion did they adopt? They didn't worship a god, they took a Yid, they took a Jew.
How can I not be happy when I see millions of Goyim bow down to one Jew tonight?
He just said it again on another big interview as well. Isn't it crazy that none of the Christians will tell you about this? None of the Christian e-crusaders will ever share these compilations. They try to pretend it doesn't exist. They cope and say they're coping. They deny it. Their cope is they say, you believe the rabbis, showing you what they actually think about Christianity. The Christians are complicit in the cover-up of this. It cannot get more apparent. It's completely transparent. We have all the receipts. Case closed. Open and shut. Case closed.
An empire that was at one point totally pagan becomes essentially 100% Christian.
Christianity is a lot closer to Judaism than the ancient paganism of thousands of years ago.
Rome conquered Jerusalem with weapons, earthly weapons, but now Jerusalem's going to conquer Rome with spiritual weapons.
And we should point out that Christianity did essentially defeat the gods of Rome.
Jesus Christ is the instrument of God to bring the good news to the world. He is the instrument of God to bring the pagans out of paganism and into faith in one God. That's the work of Jesus Christ, and that's the work of the Apostle Paul.
For to take pagans and to turn them into Bnei Noach, into people, moral, righteous Gentiles.
For the Gentile world, he took them away from barbaric paganism and he made them embrace the Sheva Mitzvahs Bnei Noach, which are the basic moral codes known as the 7 Noahide laws that God...
Christianity's 7 Noahide laws, almost perfect. It's Judeo. The whole purpose of Judaism and the Messiah was to have all the nations bow down to the King of the Jews, the Jewish Messiah and the God of Israel. That clearly happened. There's no theory here. Everybody's bragging about it. Everybody's acknowledging it, besides the e-Crusader Christian-controlled opposition and Muslims.
Gave them Adam and the Bnei Noach for all of humanity.
God is actually using Christianity and Islam as a way, as a vehicle through which humanity is being brought back to the state of Eden.
The Rambam explained the role of Christianity and Islam, that they do the mass market adoption. And that's part of the Messianic process. And that's there to prepare the world for Messiah.
All right, and here's another mix.
Both
similar.
Christianity and Islam have a positive function in weaning the pagan world away from paganism.
Jesus Christ is the instrument of God to bring the good news to the world. He's the instrument of God to bring the pagans out of paganism and into faith in one God. That's the work of Jesus Christ.
For to take pagans and to turn them into Bnei Noach, into people, moral, righteous Gentiles.
For the Gentile world, he took them away from barbaric
the right direction.
laws that God gave them, Adam and the Bnei Noach for all of humanity.
The significance of Christianity and Islam, bringing a pagan world to the idea of one God. When it comes to taking a pagan, polytheistic world and moving them towards the right direction, Christianity and Islam have done a great job in doing that. So in that regard, we see Christianity and Islam as helping bring the world to observe what they're supposed to ultimately observe, the Noahide Code.
They have converted themselves to semi-Jews, monotheism. Islam, later on, the same thing. They pretty much say, and they're very strong about it, and they're very monotheistic, even more so than the Christians. There's no Trinity. Wait a minute, Islam, Christianity, why now? God is preparing the Messianic era. He's preparing the whole world, and they make up the majority of the world. There's a great percentage of Muslims and Christians, and there's so much common ground with Judaism. They're pretty much monotheistic.
Without Christianity, these Messianic prophecies could never have taken place, and therefore Christian and Islam were vital.
No greater conspiracy.
Preparing the world for Mashiach, so they will recognize it. Because if they never were exposed to the concept, Mashiach will come and they go, what's that?
Let's assume, like let's say Rav Yaakov Amder, one of the greatest rabbis ever lived, that Christianity fulfills the Noahide Code. Let's assume that Islam fulfills the Noahide Code. The more they spread that, fantastic. And the more anyone who spreads ethical monotheism is a win for us. They are joining, if you like, you could even say they're joining the religion of the Torah, but not its covenant that's unique to the Jewish people. We would say that the spread of ethical monotheism is a win. That is what the Torah wants to see happen.
A win! Big Jewish W for the King of the Jews. All right, follow on TikTok, and here's the new clip now. For context, that's what we've already established. Now here's the new clip from See Through It All. Shout out See Through It All. Add it to the file. Add it to the compilation. Let's see.
And we could argue all day long about Yeshua being the Messiah, but there is no denying that Yeshua is significant. So a better question that we could ask is the one that he asked Simon Peter. Who is Yeshua? Who is he? Yeshua is undeniably significant to Jewish history. He is the most famous Jewish person of all time.
Mind you, this is an observant Jew with his tassels.
In the time of Yeshua, most nations worshipped the Roman gods, the Greek gods, the Norse gods, other tribal deities. Those gods are all now dead. Why? Because of Yeshua.
They love it! They love it. And then the Christians, the E-Crusaders go, you pagans need to convert. You pagans are a Jewish psyop. Nothing more Jewish than rejecting Jesus. All this stupid shit. They are denying reality of what the Jews actually think and what they've thought for a long time and what is obvious to anybody with any honesty and discernment. Wow. What a find. Game over.
Why? Because of Yeshua. Overall, okay, Christianity has made a substantial impact on the nations. It has brought countless millions of Gentiles into relationship with the God of Israel.
There you go. There it is.
Welcome to the real world.
And we could.
So good. So good. Where's is See Through It All in the chat? Let me see. He's always over on Odyssey. He's an old timer on Odyssey. No, I don't see him right now. Anyway, amazing clip, amazing find. Will that be what finally gets the E-Crusaders to pay attention? I doubt it. I doubt it. All right, here's press secretary announcing they're submitting the plans for Emperor Trump's, the King of Edom's, modern day Arch of Titus.
As you know, this year we celebrate America's 250th birthday. In honor of this historic occasion, President Trump and the Department of Interior will submit plans for the United States Triumphal Arch, which will be an architectural masterpiece to celebrate our history right here in Washington, D.C. This is a rendering of the Arch for you. Thank you, Peter. It's quite beautiful, as you can see, and this monumental arch will beam at 250 feet tall. 250
feet, so symbolic. There's always conspiracies about, like, oh, the Pentagon's this high, or I saw them doing it, the rocket is this many feet, you know? And then now she says, we're doing it this tall by feet according to the number to be symbolic, so it's like they clearly do that. Code things. But anyway, here's some of the high def depictions. Pretty cool. Pretty Esau maxing. Going full Edom mode. Edom mogging. The triumphal Harrison designed. They got a big one of these in France also. Very Edom, very European. Who's at the top? Who's the angel at the top? I wonder if they'll say. Looks like it's the Statue of Liberty with a beard and angel wings. There's the eagles, the Edom eagles. One nation under God is what it's going to say. Oh, dude, under the Jewish God? One God under Yahweh? Jeez. That kills it. Can't build a Roman arch and dedicate it to the Jewish God. Talk about an L. One nation of Edom under Hashem will be crushed. Wow. Yeah, powerchat.live/no more news. I'm getting it turned on right now. Let's hit the goal. Every dollar helps. Can't do it without you. The show will not continue if we don't meet the goal, at least almost most of the time. No joke. Let's go. You can also sign up for Subscribestar down below and Substack down below. This Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, we're doing the first private Zoom call for subscribers on Substack where we're reading a book review beginning with my book, chapters 1 and 2. If you can't make that time, it'll still be uploaded and available. You can watch it if you're a paid subscriber on Substack.
Art Von Delay sent $5. Hello, Adam. I've been watching you on recordings for a few months. Good to finally catch a live show.
Great to have you live. Thank you. Thank you for watching.
Sent $5 on Rumble. You can't kill a god, Rabbi.
Yeah, these goyim are so stupid. So should have played that one. Thank you, Johan. Yep, $5 hat, small hat challenge.
Let's freaking gut angespannt.
In effect. Biceps. It said the biceps. Arnold's biceps. Sol Invictus, is that who it is at the top? Apollo? I have to look it up.
Honor of 250 years and stand on ground that is currently empty green space in Memorial Circle on Columbia Island, a man-made island in the Potomac River managed by the National Park Service. The United States Triumphal Arch will be outfitted with beautiful artwork and depictions celebrating the success of the American...
Hold on, why is she calling it Arch, guys? It's the Arch of Titus, right? It's not the Ark of Titus. I've always heard it Arch.
People over our 250-year history and the enduring triumph of the American spirit. Long after everyone in this room is gone, our children and grandchildren will remain inspired by this national monument.
It says it's Lady Liberty, a winged female figure, angel-like, holding a torch like Lady Liberty. So it is like the Statue of Liberty. Okay. Trump is a Roman Empire mogging. Here he is again getting questioned now. Now he's saying exactly like I predicted on the show yesterday. He's saying, you Christians are too sensitive. It was just a joke. Yesterday it was he's a doctor, and today it was a joke and you can't take a joke. Should have went with that the first time instead of lying to everybody.
Last evening,
Fake news said it was supposed to be Jesus. It was a doctor. Everybody knows that doctors look like that.
Some Catholics were not so happy about the image of you looking like the Pope.
oh, I see. You mean they can't take a joke? You don't mean the Catholics, you mean the fake news media. Not the Catholics loved it.
They loved it. The Catholics. Wasn't it all the Catholics mad, calling it blasphemous? The Christian Zionists were the ones defending it. It was the That's so funny. No, the Catholics were calling you Antichrist and blasphemer. They can't take a joke. Who was watching yesterday? Did I not do a whole little Trump bit about you're too sensitive? Come on, it's just a joke. Just AI, guys. Settle down. Right? Nick loved it. That's funny. That's a European doctor. That's an ancient Roman philosopher doctor. Now it's you can't take a joke. Yesterday it was a doctor. Now it's you can't take a joke. That's so funny. The Catholics loved it.
Oh, I see. You mean they can't take a joke? You don't mean the Catholics, you mean the fake news media. Not the Catholics loved it. I had nothing to do with it. Somebody made up a picture of me dressed like the Pope, and they put it out on the internet. I did post it, and I thought it was me as a doctor. That's not me.
He can't get his story straight at all. He's got two different alibis now. How funny is this? As if it wasn't bad enough yesterday that he lied, now he's changing up the explanation. That is so funny.
I have no idea where it came from. Maybe it was AI, but I know nothing about it.
Maybe it was AI. Maybe it was real. Maybe it was AI. Maybe it was a real taken on an iPhone.
I just saw it last evening. Actually, my wife thought it was cute. She said, isn't that nice?
My question.
It's supposed to be me as a doctor.
Wow, Trump. Wow. Congressman Ted Lieu is torching Trump for mocking Jesus and demands an apology. Let's see this.
What is Trump focused on? Attacking the Pope. We call on Republicans and Donald Trump to focus on the cost of living emergency and to stop doing stupid stuff.
Hold on. Jack Stone says, I think this is old for the Pope when he did. Is that what it was? Are they being disingenuous and talking about when he posted himself as the Pope? Maybe, Jack Stone. Maybe. You never can tell. People are so deceptive. Tricksters online trying to trick people with engagement bait.
Like attacking the Pope. Now, I happen to be Catholic. I chose to get baptized in college.
Base Catholic.
When you do that, you have to take a whole series of courses on the Bible. And it's very clear that when you look at the Bible, there's a lot of themes, but two of them are that you do not have false idols, and second, you do not mock God. And so Exodus 20, 3-5 shows says, you shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself an image in the form of anything in heaven above or under.
So great. Now we're reading out the Noahide laws. Now we're fighting over blasphemy, which is so Noahide coded. Kvetching about blasphemy and idol worship is just like Noahide cucked. We got congressmen fighting with the president on how to be a proper Noahide and enslaved to Yahweh. This is where we're at.
You shall not make for yourself an image in the form of anything in heaven above or on the earth beneath or in the waters below. In addition to attacking the Pope,
dude, Trump's getting Noahide shamed.
Donald Trump posted an image of himself like Jesus. He should not be making a false idol of himself. No one should be worshiping Donald Trump. He needs to apologize for that deeply offensive post.
Apologize. I'm so offended. Apologize. Apologize for doing an AI image of you as Jesus. More idolatry, more blasphemy. This is so pathetic. Hey, how about
Forget about it.
forget about it? Forget about it.
J.D. Vance going around who just lies like...
Take a joke, dude. It's a meme. Settle down, you kvetching pearl clutcher, church lady. Apologize. You offended me, my savior.
So he just lies all the time. And so when asked about Donald Trump's Jesus post, J.D. Vance says, oh, that was a joke. Well, this is what the Bible says about that.
Oh.
6:7 says, do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows. So Donald Trump is going to reap what he sows. And again, Trump needs to apologize for his...
God has cursed him now for making an AI image of Jesus. You're cursed. Cursed if you curse the Jewish God.
Deeply offensive image that is very offensive to many Christians and Catholics.
This is just so grandstanding. Is this not grandstanding? Moral grandstanding.
In the United States. What is Trump focused on?
All right, let's hear Pope's latest response
to return
Trump.
once. So it was a special blessing for me personally to return once again.
Yeah, I was just thinking, it's like they're running a pro-Trump campaign. I was just thinking, Ted Lieu attacking Trump over this is going to make all the Christians get over it and say, actually, it's based and cool. And screw you. The left hates it. They like it. You're right. Yeah, purity spiraling.
Again to Annaba yesterday, but also to offer to the church and the world.
Dude, I love how the Pope wears a fucking small hat. Can't get over that. Can't get over this small hat Pope. Hey, choose your small hat, Goy. Which way? The eternal battle of the small hats, Jacob versus Esau.
Anonymous.
Thank you, Anonymous.
Buddy, I think you would be happier just expatriated with your family to
I'll make Aliyah to
be
Norway.
with your
Seriously.
people in your fjordland. Just feels like it's time. Return to homeland, have 2 more kids.
Dude, that if I had the money to do it, it's hard to drag my wife away from her family, but if I had enough money to make the move and go somewhere remote in Scandinavia or Northwestern Europe somewhere, dude, I would be there in a second with 2 more kids.
A vision that St. Augustine offers us in terms of that search for God and the
Crampton,
struggle to
60,
build
$75
community,
on Rumble.
to seek for
Appreciate you.
unity among all peoples and respect for all peoples in spite of the differences. So in 2 days in Algeria, I think we've really had a wonderful opportunity to, if you will, continue to build bridges.
Who is this guy, dude? He's creeping. He's giving me the heebie-jeebies. Look at this image. Is this the Jared Kushner of the Pope? Is this the converso behind the curtain? He is giving me bad vibes. Red alert.
To promote dialogue. I think the visit to the mosque was significant.
Kind of looks like the Pope.
To say that although we have different beliefs, we have different ways of worshiping, we have different ways of living, we can live together in peace. And so I think that to promote that kind of image is something which the world needs to hear today, and that together we can continue to offer in our witness as we continue on this apostolic voyage.
Oh, it must be so cringe to follow that dude. Okay, here's some from Vance, who spoke at Turning Point, and apparently Erica Kirk had violent threats, so she couldn't go. Everybody's blaming Candace. Naturally, let's see them talking about that.
It was a really unfortunate.
I love how it's too dangerous that she can't go, but then the VP can go. That's a little weird. This seems a little...
it was a really unfortunate experience for me too, just
like
to
PR.
have to watch that very difficult decision get made, which I think is the first time that we've ever had to make that decision in Turning Point history. But everything that happened with Charlie, obviously, his assassination.
So they couldn't secure it for Erica, but they could for JD. That does not add up. This seems like a little bit of a false flag or something. Maybe there was a threat, but the fact that they're like pulling her out and making a big spectacle of it.
Still, grieving that. And you saw what happened with Savannah Hernandez, one of our TPUSA Frontlines reporters in Minneapolis.
She got attacked.
And to see
on the streets,
team, tell us, we cannot guarantee your safety. We recommend that you don't do this. Was a really chilling moment for all of us to kind of have to internalize and experience and realize that Erica Kirk is, her children are one parent away from being orphans. And sometimes you just have to say, listen, right now, what's most important is your safety, is your security, and your children, your family. Let your team handle this. Let us do what we can do. And so, I obviously was horrified at the reason why, but I was honored to stand in and pinch hit for Erica last night. And I was grateful for the vice president to, that we didn't have to ultimately cancel the entire event. He was willing to do it with me, and it was very gracious of him.
All right, let's see some of these.
I also know that we've secured the border.
So here's the event.
Like for example, I recognize that a lot of young voters don't love the policy that we have in the Middle East. Okay, I understand that. I also know that we've secured the border. We've lowered housing prices now for 8 months in a row, and there's going to be more to come beyond that. We've made America energy dominant, which has lowered electricity costs and things like that. We've made it so that we have the lowest murder rate in 127 years. I'm not saying you have to agree with me on every issue. I'm not saying
Not many people there in the crowd. I think I saw somebody post something about that. They're like, Erica just didn't want to go because they're not popular. I don't know if
you have to agree with me on every issue. What I'm saying is, don't get disengaged because you disagree with the administration on one topic. Get more involved. Make your voice heard even more. That's how we ultimately take the country back. It's not by you, if you get 5 things you want and 1 thing you don't want. I see way too many people, especially in sort of the online conservative, Twitter sphere, who say, there's no point. No. Because, or let me give you another example, the SAVE Act, okay? A lot of people want the SAVE Act. I want the SAVE Act. I've been fighting for the SAVE Act literally since day one of the administration. And I've seen a lot of people saying, what the hell's the point of voting for these guys if, you've got 3 Republicans joining with the Democrats to prevent the SAVE Act from passing, or I guess 4 Republicans. And here's my response to that. Yes, it is annoying to me that there are only 45 or 46 Republicans who will fight politically to get the SAVE Act passed. But you know what? 10 years ago, that number was 35. So the answer to frustration is engagement. Don't give up on this process. Get more involved in this process and demand more from people like me. That's how we take our country back. I just think it's important to say that.
Addressing the people unhappy about Israel. Okay, here, let's see. He gets heckled some too. Let's see this.
President, excuse me, sir. Right now,
children.
There are certainly things that the Pope has said in the last few months that I disagree with. Let me just take like one very concrete example related to this conflict in Iran. So the Pope said something where he said, and I'm gonna try to remember the exact quote, but he said that God is never on the side of those who wield the sword. God is never on the side of those who wield the sword. I'm pretty sure that he said that exact statement. Now, on the one hand, again, I like that the Pope is an advocate for peace. I think that's certainly one of his roles. On the other hand, how can you say that God is never on the side of those who wield the sword? Was God on the side of the Americans who liberated France from the Nazis? Was God on the side of the Americans who liberated Holocaust camps and liberated those innocent people from, those who had survived the Holocaust? I certainly think the answer is yes, and I agree. Jesus Christ does not. I agree. Jesus Christ certainly does not support genocide. Whoever yelled that out from the dark, he certainly does not. I think that's pretty easy. When the
Zio Jesus does.
That God is never on the side of those who wield the sword. There is more than a 1,000-year tradition of just war theory. Okay? Now, we can, of course, have disagreements about whether this or that conflict is just, but I think that it's important in the same.
It's just war because you say God, you believe in the true God and Jesus is on your side, so whatever you do is just. Just like the Jews are always the good ones and the chosen people and the light, and anybody that opposes them is the dark and evil and satanic and demonic.
Same way that it's important for the Vice President of the United States to be careful when I talk about matters of public policy, I think it's very, very important for the Pope to be careful when he talks about matters of theology. And I think that one of these issues here is that there has been, again, hey, random dude screaming, I told you I'd respond to your point. I just want to respond to this question first. But I think
random dude screaming.
If you're going to opine on matters of theology, you've got to be careful. You've got to make sure it's anchored in the truth. And that's one of the things that I try to do. And it's certainly something I would expect from the clergy, whether they're Catholic or Protestant. Now, to respond to this guy here, he said,
dude, he's just addressing all the trolls. He gets up on stage and everybody just heckles and yells at him about Israel stuff. And he's taking it on.
The administration supports a genocide in Gaza. And here's my response to that. When we came in, the humanitarian situation in Gaza was an absolute catastrophe. You know who's the person who got a peace agreement in Gaza? Donald J. Trump. So if you want, sir, to complain about what happened in Gaza, why don't you complain about Joe Biden and the last administration? We're the administration that solved that problem. Excuse me, sir. Right now.
Dude, that guy sounds unhinged.
Right now,
it's true. He's right. He's right, but it sounds unhinged.
Humanitarian aid coming into Gaza than it has any time in the past 5 years because we have taken that situation seriously.
Okay, let's see. Where do we have? Oh, here's a little more from Trump. We got more from JD.
Some great people, some great congressmen.
Let me just ask you about the midterms. Do you expect the Republicans to lose seats in the House, and what does that mean for your agenda?
Well, I just left with Mike Johnson and some great people, some great congressmen and women, and in the Oval Office. I think we're going to do good. Now, with that being said, when somebody gets elected president, that party always loses the midterms. I don't know why. Nobody can explain it.
Already softening the blow that they're going to get hit hard on the midterms, which is a lot of people are saying. I don't know if it really is going to happen.
The psychological
Probably.
world. I said, why is it that a voter votes for the opposite party?
The resistance.
Even when you have a good president. I think I had the greatest year, the greatest opening year I've read. The greatest, look, I ended 8 wars. A 9th is coming. But I ended 8 wars. Nobody's ever ended 1 war. Who's ended 1? Nobody. I ended 8. We have the biggest tax cuts ever. We have the biggest regulation cuts ever. The greatest economy ever, pretty much including the fact that I took a detour into Iran in order to stop something that could have destroyed the world, right? But even when you have a great president, they tend to lose the midterms. It doesn't make sense to me, so we're going to try turning it around. You know, in 50 years, I guess the president, the party with the president, has won twice. Why that happens, I don't know. We are really working hard to turn that around. We've had the greatest year in the history of the presidency, first year, and we should be giving credit. Look at the border.
Greatest in all of history.
We had a border that was an open civ. You covered it better than anybody.
So is that the message for voters going into the midterm elections? The border.
Yeah,
I should get credit.
Yeah, I think we should. Well, I think we have to bring it back to talk. We don't need help on the border. But, you know, I built over 1,000 miles of wall. We have to talk about it because we should be given credit for having taken this disaster where people were criminals were coming in from.
Starts a huge kerfluffle war with Iran, brags about he should get the peace prize and has ended 8 wars while he started a big major war. You should all be thankful. Should all be praising him.
The world and pouring into our country. The worst thing, it's the worst thing that's ever happened. It was like an invasion. And we should be given, Maria, credit for it. So I'm going to be talking about it.
He's going to be talking about it. If everybody else won't talk about all of his accomplishments, Trump's going to talk about it. So I guess there was some fake news going around yesterday where they were claiming Trump said the Iran war is over. Laundry Cream says that's out of context. He didn't say that.
I had to divert, because if I didn't do that, right now you would have Iran with a nuclear weapon. And if they had a nuclear weapon, you would be calling everybody over there, sir. And you don't want to do that.
Well, you keep saying was. Is this war over?
I think it's close to over, yeah. I mean, I view it as very close to over.
Close to over. It's close to over. Basically over. Pretty much over. His response is so funny.
I think it's close to over, yeah. I mean, I view it as very close to over. You know what?
He'll know when he feels it in his bones, he said.
Pulled up stakes right now. It would take them 20 years to rebuild that country. And we're not finished. We'll see what happens. I think they want to make a deal very badly. I had to divert.
Well, no deal.
Because if I didn't do that.
They didn't want it that bad. There was no deal with Kushner and Vance and Witkoff recently. Where was that? Islamabad? Lance Walnew calls Trump a deliverer sent by God. The deliverer, the Moses. Oh, yeah. You know, that just reminds me. I covered Alex Jones the other day. He's like, people are turning him into the Messiah and God and Jesus. And I was like, dude, you called him the new King David. Trump, Jones also called him the deliverer also, I believe, once. Alex Jones called Trump the deliverer, like Moses. A deliverer sent by God, and connects Trump's dispute with the Pope to the religious war against the Prince of Persia. How is the Pope the Prince of Persia? That sounds like some pilpul. Dude, this guy's got Einstein on his desk, a whale, and Donald Trump holding a flag and a wood train whistle. Okay.
God chooses these rough characters exactly because they will do the hard job. And of course, the religious and the proper are always embarrassed and upset because, you know, Samson's clubbing Philistines, and what they want is a kind of an elegant Isaiah in the palace courts, and God sends a deliverer. That's why I'm saying it's a religious war right now. We're getting into some religious, but the principality over Persia is a religious spirit, Islamic. Now we got the Pope in the Vatican, and it's all fighting with Trump, who is your intercessory prayer result of God sending in Samson with a club to deal with the Philistines.
What Christianity.
1 hour after he gets in another dust up with a new Pope, that he's in this back and forth, and he wants to show an image that he is more for God. As a matter of fact, that's what he said to the first Pope. He said, I'm more Christian than he is. And here's what Trump is saying in
Once you see it,
unwisely posted meme. He's basically saying, hey, you say that you're all about, you know, being a representative of God's will on earth. Well, I'm a representative of what God's doing on earth, too. And so once again, my thesis is that Donald Trump is a once-in-a-lifetime...
No, God agrees with me.
...intervention in world affairs for the benefit, as Isaiah 45 says, clearly, of Christians and Israel.
Yeah, it's the Christian Zionists are all sweeping. That's amazing. Okay, we got a few more from J.D. Vance. The only thing he's proud of, most proud of, is defunding Ukraine.
Proudest that we...
Dude, the dude really hates Zelensky in Ukraine. Loves Putin, maybe.
And I remember having this conversation with my father-in-law, who's an amazing guy. And, you know, and it was actually during a Synod event that I had done where I had somebody who came up to me, and I'm sure a great person, like a wonderful person. It was a Ukrainian American in Cleveland, Ohio. I was campaigning for the Senate. There are a lot of Ukrainian Americans in Cleveland, Ohio. And this person got really agitated at me because I was saying we should stop funding the Ukraine war, okay? And I still believe that, obviously, and it's one of the things I'm proudest that we've done in his administration is we've told Europe that if you want to buy weapons, you can, but the United States is not buying weapons and sending them to Ukraine anymore. And I remember having this conversation with my father-in-law.
Most proud of. Okay, hold on. I think we have one more from Zelensky. Oh, wait, no, we don't. But everybody's blaming Candace right now for this death threat. And they're going to be like, look, she's always saying that Erica Kirk is a, what is it? A hybrid robot human. Crazy Candace. This is funny. Look at this meme. Just asking questions. Look at this. Illuminati, Frankist, lizard people, pagan Khazar gypsies. What else? Book of Enoch. It needs fallen angels. Book of Enoch. Anyway, did you make that, Balana?
Amfest is when we realized that something very disturbing is happening in America. I think that we are fighting machines. I think that these people are not humans, that they're sentinels that maybe look like humans. They don't know how to behave like humans. Are you just surrounded by robots? Are you a hybrid, Erica? Answer yes or no.
I'm telling you, I don't even think these people are human. Like,
What's with this schizo shit? Between Tucker and Candace and Alex Jones, Sean Ryan, just total kook world.
Elon Musk and Sam Altman and Peter Thiel, and I'm pretty sure they're hybrid. You know what I mean? Like, they just look like an Apple software that I should be able to download at night, you know? Like my phone's getting an update or something. It's
like
something in the eyes.
Matt Gaetz is saying there's secret hybrid breeding programs with aliens.
No, I'm like, I know I'm human, but I don't know if I stabbed you if you bleed, you know?
Like, it's not just like a bit that she's joking around being funny. Like, she literally thinks they're fallen. The Book of Enoch is real, and these people are Nephilim, fallen angel, demons, possessed by demons.
McCoy, people have said I've seen. But the problem I'm having is I have now confirmed with people that live where they live, because they live in a building, that they all saw Charlie. They also saw Charlie on a walk. I have one person who lives there. She ran into Charlie, or has seen that. Nobody in her building has and they all know each other. It's a building. They know Mikey McCoy. People have said, I've seen Mikey McCoy on this date, blah, blah, blah. No one can confirm that they saw Erica on this date. WTF, Stacey Sheridan lives in the same complex as Charlie and Erica. That is super weird. More and more, it seems like they were all working to smother Charlie and make sure he was closely watched and handled. Yeah, she does. And I find it to be very weird and very creepy. Mikey McCoy, I don't know if he has a place in there, him and Elizabeth, but they are there all the time because I have sources that live in the building, obviously. Again, APB, Stacey Sheridan on that day. I know I have contacts that are live in that same building. If you guys remember seeing Stacey Sheridan, that would be great. Still can't get an Erica sighting because we're everywhere and we're watching and we're listening.
Who is this girl? And sorry?
At all.
I think we're getting
25th, you've been pressing on social media. You getting any feedback at all, negative or positive, from Republicans or purple districts at all?
I think we're getting a lot of positive feedback. I have been very impressed actually to see non-elected but Republicans, people like Tucker Carlson and former Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, people like Nick Fuentes, Alex Jones, people I never thought I would ever agree with on anything.
She's a Democratic Congresswoman from Arizona, and she just said she agrees with Alex Jones and Nick Fuentes. That's crazy.
Non-elected but Republicans, people like Tucker Carlson and former Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, people like Nick Fuentes, Alex Jones, people I never thought I would ever agree with on anything.
She's just saying even the people she doesn't like and disagrees with on everything, even they see Trump needs the 25th Amendment, needs to be impeached. That's all she's saying. It's not that crazy.
Recognize that Donald Trump is so mentally unstable, and he clearly is in a state of cognitive decline.
Is she Jewish? And sorry, Yasamin. I don't know that I've ever heard of her before.
Representative Raskin is leading the charge on this 25th Amendment bill and has started an investigation into his cognitive decline because he is unfit and he is a national security threat to the United States of America.
Trying to make a statement with this. I suspect no members of the committee think it's going to be acted upon.
I don't think she's Jewish.
messaging tool in your mind?
Always got to be somebody in the chat calling everybody Jewish, right? What's her early life? I was just reading her Wikipedia early life. It doesn't say if she's Jewish or not.
It is important that right now we do not act like anything.
She looks like Indian.
And to that end, we cannot use the excuse of, oh, this isn't going to pass, or this isn't going to go anywhere, or it's not politically, viable as a reason
Iranian.
to not put forward a response that is equivalent to what the crime is, or what the actions of the president are. So I feel
She is also identified as Middle Eastern.
strongly about that. I think if we were to operate like everything's normal and we have a functioning Congress and people will just do the right thing, then we should all just go home, because that's not the case at all. And so I believe in doing things differently and speaking and acting just.
Oh my God, I can't handle anymore. We get the point. Sorry. All right. I've seen a lot of clips of this rabbi going around. One point, this is a viral one, 11,000 likes, talking about low IQ people aren't the problem. It's the people with like average IQ that think they're smarter than they are. I think that he has a valid point for that. It's not the masses of dumb people that are really the problem. It's the people, it's the gatekeepers in the middle that, like, instead of exposing the truth, they placate and they pander and they pander to the retards. Tell them what they want to hear.
With a person.
Let's hear what he says.
Low IQ is also not a problem. It's when you have to deal with a person who's smart enough to think he's smart. A person with low IQ, he knows his limits. He asks, he listens. You can teach a low IQ man. You can challenge a brilliant man. A true smart person knows how much he still doesn't know. You know when all the problem starts? All the problem starts with the person in the middle. Usually when his IQ between, I would say, 102 and 112, and sometimes even up to 128 if his confidence is too high. It's impossible to deal with these people. You can't reach someone who thinks he arrived. That's what King Solomon says. There's more hope for the fool than for a man wise in his own eyes. Real stupidity is not low IQ. The most dangerous thing a person can.
This has nothing to do with Judaism, but Rabbi may be dropping a truth bomb right here.
Is that he's pretty sure he's not wrong. Low IQ is also not a problem.
I want to watch some more of his videos now, to be honest.
I always wonder how dumb this goyim sometimes can be.
Rabbi Shalom Landau. All right. I didn't plan on this, but now I want to see a little bit more.
Low IQ is also not a problem.
Oh, we did that one.
Acting guilty of a blessing doesn't make you holy, it makes you blind. Enjoying life is not a sin, so why feel guilty? Doomers, they always sound smart, but that's why it's Doomers. Pessimism is risk-free. No one can disapprove fear. So people don't just predict the crash, they live like it's already here. They call it realistic. The Torah calls it being small. Spies, they came back with facts. Giants, fortified cities. Then they set the line that really killed the whole generation. We were like grasshoppers in our own eyes. The giants didn't beat them. Their self-image did. Builders, they don't wait for clarity. They create it. Giants are real, but feeling like a grasshopper.
Jenna says, Shalom, Rabbi Shalom. That's funny. Rabbi Shalom. He's literally describing the Jews. What, average IQ that think they figured out God and are the best at pill pull and give us morals?
So does the poor man in the street deserve your money? Honestly, maybe not. He may have made bad choices and you know it. So think about it. You're about to walk into this week and ask God for things. A deal to close, a body that stays healthy, children that turns out okay, protection you didn't bless.
All right. I'm not impressed.
Do you really want long-lasting results with a tic-tac attention span? It's impossible. Doom scrolling rewires your brain. So now you expect everything, marriage, money, meanings, to feel good instantly. That's not how God built the world. The Medrash says everything created in the 6 days requires finishing. Why? Because the world was built incomplete, so you could finish it. Business isn't.
Okay. All right. I've heard enough. Seen enough. All right. So now, new segment. Every week, there's a bunch of clips of some new anti-Semitism conference. That's basically what this is.
Sent $5.
Art
The
Vendelay.
problem less the sheep. They are what they are. Who can help that? Than the priestly shepherds leading them to the slaughter. No coincidence that we call clerics pastors.
Pastors. Controlling the flock of sheep on the pastor. Never thought of that, actually. I bet you that's not the etymology, but this is just YouTube slop mixed with Judaism. Yeah, that is what it is. He's TikTok rabbi while criticizing doom scrolling. Yeah, you're a little ironic for a rabbi to criticize doom scrolling. Like, have you been on rabbi YouTube and all the doom and glooming they are? Doom scrolling, you mean like reading the Torah, Talmud, and Zohar? All right, let's see. This is members of Congress hosting their own Holocaust Remembrance Day. We've also got some clips of Netanyahu and Prime Minister of Israel from their conference. Let's see. It's become like a religious ceremony. The suffering of the chosen people on center stage forever. Never forget. Oh, these are all survivors. Look, there's Lutnick. Any Jew with family anywhere in Europe is a survivor. That's how they categorize it.
Jaws Beto 5 sent $20 on Rumble.
Thank you, Jaws.
Let's get the shekels flowing.
Thank you, Jaws. Shekels in abundance.
Congress are joining Holocaust. Members of Congress are joining Holocaust survivors and other dignitaries over at the U.S. Capitol for the national commemoration of the Holocaust. The 8-day remembrance event honors the 6 million Jews who were murdered and millions of other victims of Nazi atrocities. The House Speaker Mike Johnson spoke moments ago, urging generations to educate and protect communities from hate. He spoke at the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum here in Washington.
It means having the courage and the moral clarity to say that denying the Holocaust is not a difference of opinion. It is a lie, and it's a lie with serious consequences. And it means standing up for what's right.
Addressing denial.
What's wrong. Even when those opinions, those facts, may not be as popular as they once were. We've seen what happens when good people stay silent.
Did you just say it's not popular to believe in those facts of the Holocaust?
And this generation of leaders will not make that mistake again.
For what's called in Hebrew Yom HaShoah, or Holocaust Remembrance Day, thousands gather for a silent march from Auschwitz to Birkenau, known as the March.
Dana Bash and Wolf Blitzer, two of the top Zionists at CNN.
Birkenau, known as the March of the Living. My colleague Dana Bash and I participated in that march back in 2023. It was a very.
Are they going to make it illegal like everywhere else in Europe?
Especially
the IHRA has a clause in there about
for us who were there. And also new this morning, a new study shows
countering the official story.
The deadliest year for anti-Semitic attacks in more than 3 decades.
Wow. Yeah. The hammer's coming. The narrative has been written, and the Hebrew hammer is dropping on Edom. You can see it.
Once again, that is tolerated, denying and distorting the truth of the Holocaust has become something once again that is tolerated and in some cases even defended. On college campuses, leaders of once respectable institutions have excused hateful ideas as context. The flags of radical Islamic terrorist groups have become commonplace on campus quadrangles. And safe spaces are reserved not for the Jewish students threatened by physical violence on these campuses, but for those who chant from the river to the sea and long live Hamas. Denying and
they weaponize it so much, like no criticism is allowed because of this.
Leadership program has included more Ladies and gentlemen, a museum leadership
lighting
program
menorahs
has included more than 72,000.
Wow, look at that. They have a menorah with 6 candles. Dude, really fixated on that number. They're always doing things with 6 in it. Very symbolic, ritualistic. A menorah with 6 candles.
U.S. military members. Through examination.
Hold on. What is this? Is this an Indian in our Congress? They took down George Washington or Lincoln or something and put up an Indian? It looks like Sideshow Bob from The Simpsons. What's going on here with this hair? Now I got to look this up. What is this? The rotunda? No, not the rotunda. Looks like the lobby.
Of the Holocaust, they gain insight into their own professional and individual responsibilities. The candlelighters are members of the United States Army 3rd Infantry Regiment.
Is Pocahontas? Pontiac? The Weeknd? That's funny, leaf blower. Yeah, it's the Weeknd haircut.
I am Sergeant Ethan Ottman. I remember.
Dude, this is straight up never forget what Amalek did to you, like a religious ceremony. They're all going to get up and say, I remember. I will never forget. Onward soldiers fighting against the enemies of the Jews.
Wilhelm Mate sent $5 on Rumble. It's that season again. Holocaustianity raises its ugly head. Persevering face emoji.
Season? It's always the season.
Specialist Brandon Johnson. I remember.
Whoa, dude, this is bizarre. They are very serious. See this is the reaction and this is the pretext for the explosion of kosher conspiracies on the internet. And then this is what comes along with it. Oh, the Great Awakening, everybody's getting red-pilled. Everybody's turning anti-Israel. They're allowing the social media algorithms to have this flourish, and this is what's going to happen. They're going to react with equal force, with overpowering force, actually. Yeah, this is all Sabbatean Frankist Freemason theater just to make you think it's about the Jews, by the way. Sabbatean Frankist Illuminati, Roman nobility, black nobilities, just... Dude, this guy... I just watched Nuremberg, too. Hollywood's barely ever making any new movies. Nuremberg was all about, like, it could happen in America. Never again.
David Nissen sent $10 on Rumble. Pastor originates from the Latin noun pastor, shepherd, derived from pascere, to lead to pasture, set to grazing, cause to eat.
There you go. The etymology does line up then. Shepherds, pastors, leading their flocks of sheep, of cattle goys, to the harvest, to the fleecing of the sheep and the harvest.
I am Specialist Coolbirth. I remember. I am Private Caleb Mabry. I remember.
What would you call this? Like... very ceremonial,
I am Private Jacory Gilmore, and I remember.
Very religious. The statue is Sequoia, a Cherokee leader. Yeah, what do they remember? These guys are like 20 years old. This happened like 80 years ago. You remember like what you saw in the documentary?
I'm Specialist Santos, and I remember.
It's like a form of like it's like venerating Jewish suffering. That's what it feels like. Yeah, the Babylonians. This is Babylonian guilt magic. This is the demons. It just shows that it's how the people that say this shit. Good goys. They get a big round of applause. Good goys. They're praying to wipe out Amalek at the Holocaust Remembrance Day. Well, of course, that's what the mitzvahs are regarding Amalek. Never forget what Amalek did to you. Always remember what Amalek did to you, and to blot out the name of Amalek.
A song.
Fictional story, by the way. There was no Amalek that attacked the Jews in their exodus, because the exodus isn't real. That's another persecuted mythology. Like Purim. Mythical tales of the empire wanting to genocide them, but then God raising them up to instead destroy those empires, which is what we're about to see play out in the fourth empire of the Gentiles, Edom, and the fourth exile.
A psalm, a song for Asaph. Keep not thou silence, O God. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are a confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmael.
Edom? He's even mentioned Edom. Come on, bro. This is just getting too eerie. Oh, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills and I'm in the freaking Twilight Zone, dude.
Tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagar.
Edom and the Ishmaelites. What is he reading from? Hold on. I'm going to have to look up barnacles of Edom and Ishmaelites.
Yeah.
Dude, there's no stopping him. He's the chosen one. You can't stop destiny.
Barnacles of Edom and confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarenes, Gebel and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Assur also joined with them. They have helped the children of Lot, Selah. Do unto them as to the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin, as to the brook of Kison, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb and like Zeb, yea, all their princes as Zebah and Zalmunna, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of God in possession. O my God, make them like a wheel, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth the wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire.
Wow, the Esau stubble verse that they talk about all the time. Jacob will be a flame, Joseph a fire, and Esau or Edom or the West will be stubble. Bro, he's declaring their prophetic agenda to conquer Edom and Ishmael and burn us like stubble, discard us like the shattered vessels of the Klippa.
Soothing Sound sent 100.
Yes!
Hey, Adam in chat. Life got crazy, so it's been a while since I've been able to.
Thank you, Soothing
Hope
Sounds.
you and everyone watching is going well. Have some shekels.
It's going all right. It has been a while, Soothing Sounds. Great to see you back. Thank you so much.
They're nice.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Means so much, dude, making the show possible. Thank you, Soothing Sounds.
So persecute them, and Zalmunna, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of God in possession. O my God, make them like a wheel, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth the wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them.
The mountains of Esau on fire.
With thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name, O Lord. Let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish.
Wow. He said Edom and Edom. Put to Edom and Amalek, put to shame and perish and burn like stubble. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's what all of this is about, by the way. Okay, I'm looking for it. I'm looking for my stubble. Maybe I should have looked up stubble instead. Here it is. Stubble would have found it.
Optics Prime sent $5 on Rumble. I remember the Holodomor.
Dude, I remember the Crusades against the Norse pagans. So here it is, Zohar 143b. For Esau will lose everything, Jacob will inherit both worlds, this world and the world to come. Esau, the Messiah will arise. Jacob, the Jews, will receive above and below the heavens and the earth. And Esau, or Edom, will lose everything. He'll have no portion in inheritance or remembrance in the world. This is the meaning of the verse from Obadiah, which is all about destroying Edom. And the house of Jacob shall be fire, and the house of Joseph flame, and the house of Esau for stubble. Rabbis laying it all out there. All out there. Look at this. What he was quoting was Psalm 83, by the way, where it says, the tents of Edom and Ish, with one mind they plot together. They form an alliance against you. This is the Gog alliance of Christians and Muslims. Oh, let's team up. This is what Dan Bilzerian says. Yeah, the Jew God believers, the Christians, and the Jewish God believers, the Muslims, need to team up, and that's how you defeat the Jews and the chosen people. Total stupidity. That's how you fall for the trap. That's why the rabbis have so much confidence that everything's going according to plan and they're going to win. With one mind they plot against you. They form an alliance against you. Let us destroy them as a nation so that Israel's name is remembered no more. The tents of Edom and the Ishmaelites, Christianity and Islam, and Amalek.
Valhalla or Bust sent $10 on Rumble. That statue was the plaster model in the Capitol Visitor Center of the same Statue of Freedom that sits above the Capitol building.
Same one of Sequoia is on the top of the building too. It's all just like guilt complex. It's guilt maxing in a way. Make them like tumbleweed, my God, like chaff before the wind. A fire consumes the forest, or a flame sets the mountains ablaze. Terrify them with your storm. They're praying to their God to destroy America and the West. Let them know whose name is the Lord, that you alone are the most high over all of the earth. All about their God reigning supreme. Crazy.
If Jesus claimed to be God.
Crazy, crazy, crazy.
Now,
Israeli President Isaac Herzog.
Right now, we are witnessing
the flame. Notice they have the flame. That's symbolic, too, obviously, of the divine sparks of light.
Right now, we are witnessing a rising wave of anti-Semitism that threatens Jews all around the world. As President of the State of Israel, I wish to remind us, Israel and the diaspora are one family with one shared destiny. And when a Jew...
No, don't talk about dual loyalty, though, but just all the Jews in diaspora, meaning living in exile, not in the land of Israel, under the husk and the peel concealed by the evil darkness of the vessels, the divine sparks of light in Edom. You are one people with one destiny, one tribe, a holy nation that dwells alone. But hey, don't talk about, conspiracy. Hey, they're not a monolith, right? What we hear. Hey, there's different factions. Hey, don't talk about dual loyalty. That's anti-Semitic. We're one nation with one destiny, one supernatural, magical, chosen destiny to heal the world and lead the Gentiles, and all the nations and all the Goyim worship our God that chose us.
Israel and the diaspora are one family with one shared destiny. And when any Jew, is harmed anywhere on the face of the earth, our collective heart skips a beat. I call upon all world leaders. Empty words will not cover up in action. This is the time for courageous action. You must fight
Courageous action. They're going to shame you and attack you and wage war against any nation that doesn't implement their IRA definition of anti-Semitism, that doesn't shut it down worldwide, which the Chabadnik that Trump appointed as the anti-Semitism czar is working on. You will capitulate and silence all opposition, or we will destroy you. You will be cursed.
Courageous action. You must fight anti-Semitism with all means and in every place before it is too late. Right now, we are
shut down all criticism before there's another Holocaust. Is that not always the narrative?
Time, there will come a time, as is the way of the world, when not a single living person who survived the Holocaust will remain on the face of the earth. One thing
they are really concerned about that. They're always talking about that. I remember there was a story, they were like, they're creating AI hologram survivors to live on and tell their story. Or they say it's generational trauma, so it passes down through the suffering and the trauma and the persecution passes along and reincarnates in the souls of all new Jews. It's like their trump card cannot expire when the last survivor is gone.
One thing must be clear. We will remember forever, and we will pass on the memory of the Holocaust forever. On behalf of the State of Israel, I vow that we will continue to remember and to remind, to tell your story. We will be faithful to the mandate you have bequeathed to us, the mandate to continue to act for the eternity of Israel. There will come a time, as is the citizens of Israel, looking back at the Holocaust, a painful question arises in full force. What if? What if we had had a state back then? What if the nations of Europe had stopped the monstrous Nazism in time instead of appeasing it? What if the Allies had bombed?
Appeasing it, that's a call out of the Catholic Church and Protestants and the West. America didn't do enough to save them, turn the boats around, right? That's what they actually think.
The extermination camps. But, my friends, history has no what-ifs. The terrible disaster occurred.
$30 some shekels for the goat. I've gone from being friendly to Christians online to a full-time male augur.
They make it impossible.
Are so self-important and tiring. Imagine thinking the way to escape Jewish control is through worshiping another Jew.
It's severe mind control, Stockholm syndrome, and nothing but delusional lies and cope. Yeah, they make it really hard. Thank you.
The nightmare became reality. The world was plunged into a war of destruction that claimed the lives of tens of millions of people, and of course, of 6 million of our own people. The same world which stood by in face of the persecution of the Jews came to understand that hatred of Jews.
See, the whole world is responsible. They all stood by and did nothing. That's their official position on this. We're all to blame.
Of the Jews came to understand
eternal guilt.
Jews, toxic came to understand that hatred of Jews, persecution of the Jews came to understand
Optics
world.
The only so-called death camps were in the Soviet sector, not in the West. Very sus.
Yeah, the ones the Soviets were under control.
People. The same world which stood by in face of the persecution of the Jews came to understand that hatred of Jews, toxic anti-Semitism, undermines the very foundations of human society. In light of all this, we are acting so that future generations will not ask with regret, what if? The answers are already being given. For 2.5 years, we have been systematically breaking down the Iranian axis of evil. In Rafah, in the Philadelphia corridor, in Gaza, in the pager operation, in the targeted elimination of ARC terrorists, Def Sinwar, Nasrallah, and others in Lebanon, in Syria, and Judea, and Samaria, and Yemen, and of course, in Operations Rising Lion and Roaring Lion.
A whole lot of justification for all their preemptive attacks. He attacks Europe too. He says Europe is losing control of its identity, infected with deep moral weakness. See? What do you think they're going to say about Edom? Have I not always said, how many rabbis and Jews have to say, oh, the Egyptians, the Assyrians, the Babylonians, the Greeks, the Romans, they all persecuted us, but they're all gone. They're the dust of history. And they triumph and they survive because God is on their side, right? They're going to say the same thing about the West and Edom if they have their way. People keep playing the role and Esau maxing. Keep being the dupes, falling into the Esau Edom trap.
I am planning to buy your book.
Great.
Should do that before the hammer comes down. Do you get more shekels if I buy on Amazon or on the No More News website?
Yeah. Yep. I get a higher cut if it's from my website. And I ship it signed. And but if you're international, then you should do Amazon. Because cost a lot to ship international for me. Yeah, definitely pick it up.
אירופה ששכחה כל כך הרבה דברים מאז השואה. היא יכולה ללמוד מאיתנו הרבה דברים.
Oh, we're not even going to get a dub or subtitles on this? But I heard Europa.
את ההבחנה החדה בין טוב ורע.
Okay, sounds like he's saying Europe is bad. Edom is bad. You're abandoning them. You're betraying them. You're anti-Semitic. We've heard it before. Israel's approval rating in U.S. men under 50.
To the age of 50. In 20, they have very much shifted away from Israel. Look at this. Net favorability of Israel among men under the age of 50. In 2022, not too bad, but not too hot to trot either at -3 points.
Yeah, before October 7th, before Trump comes in and goes full Zion Dawn mode, before they allow the algorithms to let the criticism explode, this is also set up. Oh, the rising anti-Semitism more than ever in Edom. How is it not obvious where this is headed? And as long as you keep doing this pantomime game, LARPing along according to the Jewish plan.
By 2025, again, down we go, -22 points. That is a 19-point shift in just 3 years' time. But it gets even worse. Look at this for Israel. -47 points. That's a 44-point shift away from Israel on the net favorability amongst young men who, of course, shifted massively into the Republican column back in 2024, and they have been shifting away from Israel over the last 4 years.
The Nick Fuentes effect.
They have very much shifted away from Israel. Look at this. Net favorability of
Tim Pool doing the aliens are actually demons from the Bible thing. Very cool, says Nemor Amalek. I bet he gets into, is Trump the actual Antichrist next? Dude, remember, I posted a clip of Alex Jones talking about maybe Trump is the Antichrist, and then Sovereign Bra mirrored it, didn't retweet it, mirrored it, I think. And then Tim Pool invites him and Donnie Darkendon to talk about it.
I sent $5 just doing my part. Thank you.
Hispanic boy, thank you. So let's hear Tim Pool.
Anyway, you want to
Let's hear the soft on Christianity, but not a Christian. But I saw a tweet the other day. He's like, everything's so demonic. He says he's an atheist or something like that. He's not religious, but everything's so demonic. Maybe he's reconsidering. Maybe Jesus is real because bought all bank accounts. And Trump did an AI Jesus. Maybe Jesus is real.
Some of your detractors try to dismiss the info from your book because of the Dawkins quote about God being racist, sexist, homophobic, etc. out of context. Honest people know you're not a lib.
I had not seen that.
Hispanic.
It sounds stupid.
$5 just doing my part. Thank you, Adam.
Detractors are trying to dismiss info from my book because I quote Dawkins talking about God being, because they like racist, sexist, homophobic, so they're like, oh, Adam's blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's totally stupid. And yeah, definitely out of context.
That stuff freaks me out. And so I wonder if the issue is there are people who are grazing. Let me put it like this. I love simulation theory. The simulation theorists say perhaps we live in a simulation, that our universe was constructed for some purpose in which we experience the world, and there's rules and
constructed to test us if we trust Jews about their prophecies, basically. That's the test. God hides himself, makes everything look as if he's not real and isn't out there. And you just got to take the word for some Jews that they're really chosen and they speak for God and God said this and their prophecies were fulfilled. That's the test. That's the eternal test of the goy. Do you trust the Jewish magic?
You know, who knows?
Do you believe the Jewish fairy tales?
And so it's like, so you think a creator made all of this? Like, well, yeah, but it's an advanced species. I'm like, look, any way you want to describe the creator, you can describe the creator.
That's literally just pushing the question further back.
Yeah.
He had a little debate with Jay Dyer. I saw a clip of it the other day. I want to watch the whole thing.
Sent $5.
It's just so obnoxious.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Hispanic boy.
My response is simulation theorists are asking the first questions that theologians asked 3,000, 2,000 years ago or whatever. When, you know, even before Christ, there were questions being asked about the nature of reality and whether it was constructed. And simulation theorists are now thinking they've just discovered the first question to ask. When you look at it that way, my response to atheists and secular individuals is, when you think of demons, there is an immediate internal bias that I think
Anonymous sent $5. It's wild how much of the human experience is just being constantly lied to by psychopaths. Thanks for your show. It is the only thing that's watchable.
Thank you. Very nice of you to say that, Anonymous. It's my favorite show. It's my favorite stuff. It's my venting.
When you think of demons, there is an immediate internal bias that I think atheists have, where they imagine fairy tales, vampires, and werewolves. Mm-hmm. That's a bias you need to overcome. The idea of demons can be simply constructed as entity, something beyond our comprehension and understanding that seeks to influence us.
$5 just doing my part. Thank you.
Oh,
Adam.
did you mistaken and do a bunch of fives? You're doing a lot of parts, a lot of shekel challenges. So what is he saying?
That's a bias you need to overcome.
If you believe demons are magical, no, they're just entities.
These people, either God is a liar in his book or God is a liar in the evidence.
Mm-hmm.
But if God is a liar, why trust that which only comes from his agents and not from our eyes?
Yeah. Yeah, if there was really a God, we wouldn't be arguing about what he says. He wouldn't only choose one group of people to speak for him. If Jesus was real and he really rose from the dead, he would have appeared to everybody, not just to his devout close followers. He would have gone on a victory lap tour of the resurrection, and everybody would have wrote about him and done paintings and sculptures and writings contemporary, at least acknowledging he was real. None of that.
That I think atheists have, where they imagine fairy tales, vampires, and werewolves. Mm-hmm. That's a bias you need to overcome. The idea of demons can be simply constructed as entity, something beyond our comprehension and understanding that seeks to influence in some ways. There may be good ones, there may be bad ones. It may be that Christianity is completely correct about it. Maybe you believe that, maybe you don't.
My point is $5 on Rumble. Ah, yes, we need to overcoming the bias of asking for burden of proof for outlandish claims of fictional demons.
Yeah, okay. Oh, it's not my bias. Where's your proof of this, undetectable entity? And then he says Christians could be right about demons. Ooh, is there any proof at all they're right? Or is it the exorcist interviewed by Tucker Carlson and Tucker Carlson being scratched in his bed? He's a right-wing pundit. So of course, even though he's not a Christian, he doesn't want to offend Christians and lose Christian support. When you're on the right, that's what they do.
ways. There may be good ones, there may be bad ones. It may be that Christianity is completely correct about it. Maybe you believe that, maybe you don't. My point is, when I say
maybe the Earth's flat, maybe your head's gonna fall off. You know, maybe the sun's made of cheese. You know, maybe. I hate this. Maybe it could be anything. Maybe. Just like tiptoeing around the issue too, not taking a stand, fence sitting. He's always been a big fence sitter, right? I remember saying that about him a lot.
I believe that there are powers and entities that influence us, because I have no way to explain the rapid increase in the frequency of people that I could only describe as being possessed.
Yeah, anybody that's acting crazy must be possessed with some interdimensional demon entity. It couldn't just be that there's no God and just some people's brains go a little wacky. Couldn't be that. Anyway, I want to watch a little bit of this documentary here, see how it goes. Actually, we're at an hour and a half. Let's finish up with the Christian stuff, and then we'll finish with the documentary. We got some new clips from See Through It I want to bang through here.
Evangelicals maybe
checking in with Christians and Jews.
Polls over the last year or two have shown that evangelicals support Israel at a rate above 70%. If you dig into Jewish American surveys, evangelicals may be more supportive of Israel than Jewish Americans. Evangelicals are as concerned about anti-Semitism as Jewish Americans, high 80s, low 90%. It's almost overwhelming for many of us in the Jewish community to appreciate the depth of love and support coming at us from the evangelical community. Why? I mean, what's the most basic reason for why evangelicals are so supportive of not only Israel, but the Jewish people?
I mean, I think there may be several answers to that, or several things that contribute to that. Number one is the fact that of Jesus of Nazareth himself being a Jew.
That'll do it. Well, the Bible does say that they're the chosen people and the prophets of God. Trump the doctor?
Are you suffering from a serious life-threatening illness? Has your doctor told you you're probably going to die? My name is Dr. Donald Trump, and I have helped millions of patients with conditions just like yours. Cancer, heart disease, ALS, you name it. Conditions your doctor said were untreatable. I've seen them all, and I fixed them all. I use an advanced technique that the cheating medical establishment don't want you to know about. The results are, frankly, incredible. Nobody gets results like this. They're the greatest results.
They gave me 6 weeks to live.
Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Our Lord and Savior, healer, Donald Trump.
But then I called the hotline and was healed entirely through the phone.
I was clinically brain dead, and my wife was about to pull the plug when the doctor saved my life.
If you or someone you love is suffering, don't wait. Don't let the corrupt medical establishment tell you what's possible. Call 1-900-NOT-JESUS today. Let's make your health great again.
Trump Hospital. That is so good, dude. AI. That is awesome. Results never been seen before. Nobody's ever seen any healing like it. Not even Jesus. So good.
Holy Spirit. Okay? But this is what the Bible says, and this is the Apostle Paul speaking through the inspiration of the Holy Spirit. Okay? He's talking about Jewish people now. But if some of the branches were broken off, right? Were broken off, and although a wild, can you say wild? I'm a wild. You guys are wild. A wild olive shoot were what? Grafted in among the what? Wait a minute. I thought we knocked Israel out, and now we have a new Gentile olive tree. Nope. That helps with addiction. No. You're grafted in. You need to tell look at your neighbor, say, you're grafted in. Yeah.
Grafted into the Jews.
We're grafted in among the others and now share in the nourishing root of the what? Who gives us the nourishment? Who's the olive tree? Jesus, but who does it come from? The Jewish people. Jesus came through the Jewish people, right? And the whole Bible is written by Jewish people. There's only one book in the Bible that's not written by Jewish people, and that's the book of Luke and Acts. The rest of it, Jewish people.
I dispute that that's even true.
Do not be what? Arrogant towards the branches. Hello.
Dude. Hello.
Think about that for a moment.
You're never getting over Romans 11, Christians, e-Crusaders.
If you remember, it's not you who supports.
This is regular Christianity.
But
this is Orthodox Christianity, by the way, too. Orthodox Study Bible, that's what it says.
What? The root supports you. Thank your Jew today. We should have a t-shirt made.
Yeah. Thank a Jew.
Thank God for the Jewish people. We're indebted.
Dude.
They're the firstborn.
Firstborn. Elder brother in faith.
So remember, guys.
Dude, is that a good shirt, new shirt idea? God bless the Jews?
Be humble.
Would you guys buy God bless the Jews shirts?
Be humble.
Just wait till you see the new man on the street I have planned, by the way. I got 2 planned.
That's what we see in Ezekiel 37 is the regathering of the Jewish people to their land from all over the world. And that's what we see in process now.
Comic book fan, you know these guys love comic book Jesus.
6% of the Jews in the world were in Israel in 1948. Now it's closing in on half. Almost half the Jews.
This is Josh McDowell's son, one of the most best-selling Christian authors like ever in modern times. I think they wrote a bunch of books trying to prove Jesus existed. One of the main ones is More Than a Carpenter, and of course he's an ultra-Zionist. Dude, the top Christian apologists that do the arguments for Jesus are the worst. Like Josh McDowell. Oh, I'm forgetting the other guy's name. What is it? Lee Strobel. Awful. Such a kook. So wrong. Gary Habermas.
Jews in the world live in Israel.
Wow. Sad.
And it says when they're gathered there back to their land, there's going to be a leader. The Bible calls him Gog. And Gog is probably related to a word for darkness. I don't think that's literally going to be his name, Gog. It's just a symbolic picture of this man. Now, he's not the Antichrist. The Antichrist is going to lead a Western confederacy of nations, I believe. Gog will lead a...
You mean like Trump? The Western leader of the Confederacy. You mean like Trump?
A northern confederacy of nations that come against Israel. So Gog's mentioned. It says he's of the land of Magog, and it mentions 9 places. It mentions, Magog and Meshech and Tubal and Gomer and Togarmah and Persia, Libya or Sudan, Libya and Put. So there's 9 ancient places mentioned. But if you look at those places and again see the counterparts on a modern day map, it's Iran, it's Russia. 4 of the names have to do with modern Turkey, modern day Turkey. And ancient Put is Libya, and Cush is modern day Sudan. Well, other than Russia, these are all Islamic nations. And it's interesting because Ezekiel kind of mentions, many people have pointed out, kind of the outer ring, kind of the far enemies of Israel. But it could include the nations within that outer ring as well, because in Ezekiel 38:6, after kind of giving all these specifics, he says, and many peoples with you. So it could be that he's kind of just given the specific outer ring, but it includes nations within that as well. Many of the other modern enemies of Israel inside of that. But it says that in the
sent $5 on Rumble, paying the temple tax.
The Odin's temple tax. That's a good one. Temple tax tithe to Odin. Good one.
Latter days, it calls it the last days, the latter years, that when Israel's been regathered to their land, and it says they're going to be at rest and living securely. These nations, this coalition of nations, are going to come to Israel, and it says they're going to come upon them like a storm. In other words, they're going to try to wipe them off the face of the earth.
The storm is coming.
Come seeking.
Call Q. The storm is coming against Israel, saving Israel for last. The storm is coming. Messianic figure Trump.
Spoil. So there's some treasure, some spoil they're going to be seeking there. And they're going to come into the nation of Israel, and it's going to look like Israel's finished. And they're going to come in, you can imagine just this massive horde of nations coming. And I think that Israel, when that happens, they're going to be at peace and living securely. I think that'll be the time of peace that they have with the coming Antichrist. The Antichrist, when he comes to power, is going to come on a platform of peace.
You mean like Donald Trump? The Board of Peace? Obsessed with the Nobel Peace Prize? Abraham Peace Accords? Sorry, Avraham. Cyrus Accords with Iran? Hello, Jared Kushner. Hello.
Just later, but I think the Abraham Accords and some of these things could be setting the stage for that. But Israel's got to be at peace and at rest and living securely when this invasion takes place. And we see a lot of war happening there now, but I think that's setting up for peace. But then when all this happens, God is going to come and wipe these enemies out. It's like an Old Testament
nations
scene, with fire and brimstone from heaven, with disease.
Yeah, Esau will be stubble and burned.
Each other. It's going to be the worst case of death by friendly fire in military history. And they're going to.
And the rabbis saying it at the Holocaust Memorial, reading verses about Edom being stubble,
be destroyed. And God is going to do that as a great vindication. And it says, then Israel is going to know that.
For persecuting Jews, like how they're saying America stood by and did nothing, turned to right the ships, all blah, blah, blah. This is what happens when you think biblically. This is your brain on the Bible. Your brain on Jews.
God, I think that's going to be when there's a great turning of many of the people then in Israel to put their faith and hope in their great God, Yahweh.
Their great God, Yahweh.
You damn right I love the Jews. Absolutely. 100%. Because I'm a Christian.
What you're doing here is necessary.
Oh, good.
Appreciated.
Thank you. I'm glad you enjoy it. I'm glad it means something to you and you value it and you're supporting it. It means a ton. Go crazy if it weren't for it, probably. Okay, let's see here. One more. Checking in with the white collar. Reverend priest.
Now,
this is just all the Christians too. Like the vast majority of Christians all talk like this, all hold these views. The E-Crusaders and the Copers online are such a fringe vocal minority that are just playing the heel, giving them their victim status role, discrediting the opposition. Full spectrum dominance, keeping the opposition kosher. Look at Daily Mail too, always pumping out the Jesus slop. Every day, scientists baffled by mysterious 1,200-year-old coin linking Vikings to Jesus. I saw another one, too. What was the other one? It was the Daily... Oh, how Bible stopped a bullet and saved Squatty's life amid hellscape. It's a miracle. The Bible saved the dude. So much Jesus slop. I'm suffering Jesus and Goyim slop fatigue. Big time.
Now, I have Muslim friends. I have Hindu friends. I have Buddhist friends. And they come to me. He chooses to save the world for those who are willing, and he gives everyone a free will, to accept his son, the Jewish Messiah, if they want to have eternal life. That's the way he does things. That's the way he's chosen to do things.
Uh-oh, breaking news. TMZ reporting Donald Trump repost another AI image of him, Jesus embracing him in front of an American flag. Very homoerotic. Dude, anointed by God, saved by God to save the world, the chosen one, the Cyrus, the King David, the Moshiach ben David, Donald Trump. He did it again, folks. He did it again. Let the seething commence.
So I think it's a matter of God calling us to humility.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you talk about jealousy, Michael, and I think that's a good word.
Did we go down on Rumble? Refresh. I didn't see a dropout. Must be a Rumble thing.
Envy. And to be willing to give up our jealousy. Yes, there is a special love, I would argue, that God does have for the Jewish people.
We're all brides of Christ.
Salvation. Now, that's another thing. Just because God elects the Jewish people to be his chosen people, that doesn't mean they're all going to be saved by virtue of being Jewish. Paul talks about a remnant. In fact, from Genesis to Revelation, we have the principle of the remnant. God.
Well, they're chosen. They're just not saved. They still have a covenant. Just they got to believe in Jesus at the end. That's what they all say.
Never works through a majority. He always works through a remnant. Sometimes that remnant is absolutely tiny, as in the days of Noah, just one family. So this is what scholars call the scandal of particularity. That the God of Israel is a God who reaches the universal. He reaches out to the universal, offering him his truth and beauty and goodness, but through a particular people called the Jews and their.
Accept the truth and beauty and goodness of the Jewish God, Goyim. You get to be slaves. I mean, saved. Such an obvious con.
Particular land, and the perfect Jew, the perfect Israelite named Jesus, his Messiah. So that's the kind of God we have, and that's the only God there is.
Perfect Jew. Your God is a perfect Jew. Average Christian.
The Messiah and the Christian faith, because for most of church history, despite periods of persecution, there was a general political tolerance of Jews that was not afforded to pagans. And this might be because of Augustine. Augustine believed that Jewish people were living testaments to the legitimacy of the Messiah and the Christian faith because in their Old Testament record, they had prophecies that we've gone over that pointed to the Messiah. He also believed
prophecy hoax,
confirmation of the partial hardening of the judgment, essentially that God had them under, and the fact that they were in the diaspora. And so, if you think of in Europe the way that pagans were treated, pre-Christian pagans, very harshly. Paganism is essentially eradicated, and not so much for Jewish people.
Dude, Judaism was preserved. Christianity ensured the survival and the spread of Messianic Judaism for the Gentiles. Gave them special protections and privileges while keeping them separate, giving them their victim status in their persecution, in their exile, while eradicating paganism, which was the original goal of Judaism. Thank you. This is what everybody with any honesty recognizes. And we hear, you believe the rabbis. Everybody acknowledges this. But you coping delusional e-crusaders on the internet. There it is. How many times do we have to be vindicated? See through it. How much more vindication do we need?
Pagans were treated, pre-Christian pagans, very harshly. Paganism is essentially eradicated, and not so much for Jewish people. Religious Jews could keep their practices under a certain level of tolerance. There was exceptions to this throughout time, but it was nothing like the way that pre-Christian pagans were treated. I'm not going to get deep into...
This is the Pete Hegseth pastor, says Amalek. Really? Yeah. Yeah, that's what I ask Christians when Christians go, there's nothing they hate more. 109 times, we kicked them out so many times, blah, 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 pogroms, blah, blah, right? They say that. They like to brag about that. And then I go, well, like, paganism was ultimately, like, eradicated and completely destroyed. Did more pagans die under Christians? Did more white European pagans die? Or were forced converted under Christianity? Or Jews? It's not even close, not even remotely close. The suffering, the magnitude of the suffering of pagans from Christianity far outweighs Jews. Per capita much? Per capita?
The Catholic Church and the history of that, there were various times in specific regions where there was persecution and driving Jews out of the land and things like that. But in general, like I said, compared to pre-Christian pagans, the Jews were actually treated with a lot of charity or at least tolerance, I should say. And they were certainly not viewed as enemies the way the Muslims were viewed as enemies.
There you go. But Muslims were also viewed as Ishmael and Noahide. Wow. Told you so. Hate to say I told you so. This is standard kosher take that basically mirrors what the rabbis say. This is Frank Turek. Isn't this Charlie Kirk's pastor?
Gods.
Let's see this about Babylon. And we're almost done here. We're going to wrap it up at 2 hours. About 10 more minutes.
Do you think the fallen angels could have been what many ancient cultures worshipped as gods?
Bruh. Actually, are like all the pagan gods fallen angels and demons? Were all the Gentile gods like secretly worshiping demons and fallen angels, and we got to worship the Jewish God like the Jews told us? What a question, dude. We're so clown world, too. The fact that this is the discourse. This is what's being discussed. This is what's filling people's minds.
Do you think the fallen angels...
Total Jewish dominance when this is the discourse.
Do you think the fallen angels could have been what many ancient cultures worshipped as gods?
Michael Heiser points out in his book, The Unseen Realm. And a simpler version of that book is called Supernatural, both by Michael Heiser, where he says God is a divine council. And this divine council is spoken of, I want to say it's Psalm 89, maybe Psalm 82 as well, a couple other places. And this divine council, of course, God doesn't need a divine council. He doesn't need any of us. But he set up these spiritual beings who are Elohim. They were called gods, but they're not the God, right? They're created beings. And he assigned them to the different nations. And when they turned those nations against Yahweh, God confused their languages, this is the Tower of Babel, and disinherited the nations, and in the very next...
Dude, how stupid is it? Try to think critically for a second. That at one time, all humans on Earth spoke the same language, and they tried to build a tall building so God confused all their languages. As if any plausibility, that's how religions evolved. We know the etymology of religions. We can see it archaeologically in the records. The development of religions and how they evolve and how they branch off. Pretending this is at all legitimate in a real story is pure schizophrenia, pure delusion. People that hold these views should have absolutely no influence on the discourse.
Next chapter, Abraham shows up. And this is God now going to re-inherit those nations through a process through Abraham. So for me, whenever I read the Tower of Babel, I said, this is a bizarre story. What is this about confusing the languages? It doesn't seem to make any sense. But
it doesn't.
You see that there's a divine council who God says, you are going to die like men now, these Elohim, because of what you've done.
Does it make more sense that people all over the world in different places, isolated from one another, are going to develop their own languages and innovate and develop other older dialectics? Or dialects, I should say. That's the way religion and language develops and evolves and spreads. The idea that it all started with everybody speaking the same language is so beyond stupid. I can't even believe that people that hold these views should not be taken seriously by anybody. Only because the Bible, anybody entertains this delusion.
Done. Now I'm going to reacquire the nations. You see, well, it should be this way from your perspective. Here's the Tower of Babel. God disinherits the nations. He brings forth a Messiah that comes from Abraham all the way through David, and Jesus arises, and he's the Messiah, the seed, who saves the world. And then right after that, you have Pentecost. Pentecost is the reversal of Babel.
Jesus doesn't save the world. He enslaves the world. The point of the Messiah was not to save the Gentiles. It was to theologically subjugate, have dominion over the Gentiles. They sell it as you're being saved when they're really mind controlling you, turning you into a slave of Yahweh. I think they symbolically put this in the new Batman movie too, where it's like people believed that Superman was here, came to Earth to save the world, but then there was like, spoiler alert, like they decoded the message from Superman's parents and they told him to enslave the world. And obviously this is a metaphor for Jesus, a reveal that the Moshiach is not saving the world. The intent was to conquer and enslave the world.
Fuses the languages in Babel. He has people speak different languages so they could communicate with one another. In Pentecost, here is where he begins to re-inherit the nations. Notice when Jesus gives the Great Commission, he goes, therefore, make disciples of all people. No, he doesn't say that. What does he say? Make disciples of all nations.
All goyim.
Re-inheriting the nations.
And then he sent out the 70 disciples for the 70 nations, like Joseph. And in Jewish Apocrypha text, Joseph, that was in the cell, that was imprisoned, sold into slavery of Egypt, the angel came to him and taught him the 70 nations, and Jesus is the new Joseph that ends up conquering the 70 nations and their empires.
Re-inheriting continues to this very day. You're all part of it. So there were these, you want to call them fallen angels, you want to call them Elohim that fell away. You might say they were part of the divine council if you want to say that. Okay. And they led people astray. And God now has put a plan in place to re-inherit the nations, and that's what he's doing now.
Thank you very
With
much.
Jesus, to re-inherit the nations. Make the world his inheritance. I think that's Psalm 2 or 22. It says, and he will inherit the goyim. Okay. I think we're going to wrap it there. We're at 2 hours. We hit the goal. Tomorrow, we will pick up with aliens and demons and the evidence for the resurrection, Lee Strobel apologetics debunked, and whatever other developments there are. So, big show, very important show. Appreciate everybody out there that's been clipping the show. Share the link. Sign up for Subscribe Star, Substack. You guys know what to do. Like it, share it, clip it, spread the word. Let's see. Where is my music? There we go. Appreciate everybody for the support. Big shout out for that 100 dono that came in from Soothing Sounds and everybody else that supported and made the show possible, so I can continue doing these daily streams and support my wife and kids. It means the world to me. And all right, love you guys. I will see you tomorrow. Take care. Yeah, Jesus saved the world. Does it seem very saved to you? Jesus saved the world. That's why Satan's in charge and the church is completely misled and the path is narrow and Satanist ball worshippers are supposedly drinking adrenochrome baby blood because Jesus saved us and he's actually winning and on the throne and king. Okay, slave. Okay, sheep. Go to the gym, eat some steak. Say no to Yahweh and hail the old gods.